Welcome back to the Afinida Insurance podcast. Today, I have with me some insurance experts from Afinida Insurance, Nicole Dean and Alyssa Wilcox, and we're going to be talking about some car insurance hacks that will save you big. So I think you will really enjoy this conversation. Whether you're a business owner or you're just somebody who wants to own the car insurance, this is going to be a great conversation and hopefully really helpful for you. So, Alyssa, if you can kind of help me out with this first one we're talking about telematics, and these can work in a lot of different ways, but a lot of times they're like integrated into an app on your phone now, different things like that. And the question I think we kind of get a lot is, are they actually worth it? Do they actually help you save money on your car insurance? How does that kind of all work?
So telematics is an interesting technological advancement for car insurance carriers. I think, yes, it can. So it's sort of a nuanced thing, right? Like, how much of your privacy are you willing to give up in the prospect of possibly saving some money? So, essentially what it is it's a tracking device on your car. So, and it monitors how you drive, where you drive, when you drive, how fast you drive, how fast you brake. So all of these things factor into the way that an insurance company would rate you as a risky versus safe driver. And the idea being that the safer drivers get discounts along with those who drive less, which makes sense. Like, that's typically how carriers do rate it. They look at how much you drive each year, what your driving record is, and they base rate there. Once you add telematics in, now they're like looking at everything. It's controversial. Nicole mentioned there you would possibly even like lawsuits that have been brought against us. So it's one of those things where if you are like super confident that you are the best driver in the world, like, go for it. But I would say take it with a little grain of salt, understand what rights you're giving over, and, just evaluate your own risk.
That's a great point about the privacy piece. I don't know that everybody thinks about that. And because we're so native with technology now, we kind of don't realize how much of our privacy we give up every day anyway. But when you think about like watching you drive it, like you don't think about that. Like, you get in your car, you drive, whatever. But then like in 6 months when they reevaluate your premium and it's like changed significantly, you're like, wait, what? And it was this was all
Yeah.
I mean, that's a significant, thing to think about.
Yeah, I mean, even things like if you drive during rush hour, like, you're considered a riskier driver. It's like, well, we got to
Yeah.
get to work, right?
Right. And I mean, there's so much out of your control on the road too. There's so much out of your control, like when you have to drive, where you have to drive, like can't control where my kid's school is, can't control where even my office is or whatever. And so you could be penalized for these things. I can see how it would just feel better, just be like, okay, it's sort of like when you pay for something that's all inclusive. Like, I know what I'm paying. I already know it's done, it's over with, rather than it being like potentially nickel and dime almost. It kind of feels like it could be that.
Yeah. And, I think like a lot of the research that I found was that most people didn't even get any savings. So,
A lot of people don't realize their credit score actually affects car insurance premiums. I think you think about that with like, whenever you have to put a deposit down for utilities, or when you think about rent, or all these different things, but you don't think about your credit in terms of car insurance. Can you kind of talk about how that works and what people need to understand about that?
yeah, so this is just one tool that insurance companies have at evaluating like how risky a person would be. And I think the idea is that, like, if you have better credit, then you are more reliable, more dependable, less of a risk, and would therefore be a better driver. Insurance companies using the tools that they have available to them to kind of price things that will allow them to make money, offset any risks. And, it's just one of those metrics that is available to them. So any accidents and citations, kind of factor in.
I mean, bottom line, everything about insurance boils down to assessing risk. And so, whatever you can do to show I'm not risky, that's what's going to ultimately help you get a better deal for yourself. What about, so I've actually gotten this advice in my own life, like knowing when to file a claim on your car versus when to not. Because sometimes if it's small enough, it's just not really worth it. It's just going to raise your premium so much versus just pay for out of pocket. It's not really worth it. Curious what you think, and like kind of a number that was thrown out when we were like making these questions was, why can like a $500 claim end up costing you more in the long run? So something that like you get your bumper dinged, it might cost like $500 to like bump it out, buff it, whatever, whatever. Is that worth just paying out of your pocket versus how can that actually maybe cost you more if you were to go through insurance for it?
When it comes to making claims, I think the important thing to factor in is it something that would go against your driving record and therefore make you riskier? So if you're in an at fault accident, like someone stopped short at a crosswalk and you ran into the back of them, you're at fault. And, those sort of infractions on your record will increase your insurance rates. So if you have that little fender bender and the guy in front of you has just a little scratch, it's nothing to worry about. You have some cosmetic issues with your own bumper, nothing that would impact the car itself. I think it's good to, just eat the cost and go out of pocket. And when we're looking at a $500 repair, typically that's what your, a standard deductible would be on an auto policy. So if you're going to have to pay out of pocket anyway, it's best to just not let the carrier know about it. There are of course, comprehensive damages, and these are things that are like out of our control, like a tree falling on your car. That's an act of God, typically weather related, those things. It's not like that you did anything wrong. It depends on what caused the damage and, how much you're willing to go out of pocket versus risking your rates going up.
Any other hidden risks that people don't necessarily think about, or hidden factors people don't realize that can play into what kind of car insurance premium they can get?
Yeah, I think that obviously, I think one of the biggest factors is locations. Certain areas are more prone to damage. Like I used to live in New Orleans and talk about potholes, like potholes and crime. Of course, your own history, accidents, license, citations, DUIs, that's going to be a huge one, of course. But then there are things that like you wouldn't even realize do factor into your rates, and that's like medical issues, outstanding fines. So if you have, or child support, say your wages are garnished because you are not taking care of what you need to be taken care of, that's going to be that could be an infraction against you and cause your rates to increase.
Well, thanks so much for all of the tips. Hopefully, this was helpful for you as you navigate car insurance. It's something that everybody has to have. It is the law. So make sure you have the best option for you. If you're looking for a new option, Afinida Insurance can help you do that. We work with all kinds of carriers. We don't have a carrier specific. So we can really help you truly get the best deal because we aren't beholden to one company or another. We can truly shop around and find the absolute best rates for you, and you'll have a real human being you can talk to whenever you need to really understand your insurance. If you're interested in that, be sure to visit our website. It'll be in the description box below. Thanks for tuning in to this episode, and we'll see you next time.